I'm going to sign off. That was pure luck that I picked up the bikers were there. I'll come back on when the march starts.
That's us ready to set up last week. See, right, what's your name? What? Karen, I know you can, I'm ready.
As I said earlier, when it's windy like this, speaking into the phone, that'll be distorted. You are live on a thing.
Right, we're still streaming live, I hope. Somebody give me a wee thumbs up or something just to see. Jason, you're doing alright, wee man? You got dogs, big dogs, wee dogs, smart dogs, yeah, lovely dogs.
Camera. Better get going.
We're moving. Did I say it was windy? No camera shy. May I interrupt? You're live on Independence Live.
Hi.
And I see we're from Skye and Lochhouse. Have you come over today or?
I just travelled this morning.
Okay. A small group of you?
Yeah, just a few of us travelled down. I just arrived 2 minutes ago, so I don't know, I've not seen many people yet, but I'm sure we'll pop in. So.
You catch up with them?
I hope.
Okay. It's windy. Good morning. You are all live on Independence Live.
Yeah!
That's more like it. Who am I speaking to?
Paul Graham.
Hello, Paul.
Yes.
Okay, and who else?
Emma.
Emma, hello.
Audrey.
Audrey.
Morag.
Morag. I have the feeling that Morag might just be the troublemaker, am I correct?
Yeah, you're right.
Thanks for coming. I've been looking for people who are a lot younger than I am, and it takes a lot to do that. I'm so pleased to see you here. We need a lot more young people showing up. Thank you. Good morning. You are live on Independence Live.
Hello.
I have just been further down the march, and I've seen the flag which is called Hope.
Yes.
What flag am I looking at here? Do you know the name?
I don't know, but it's the Yes Ross and Sutherland flag. I don't know its name. But Lorraine would tell you she's carrying independence as normal for the back.
I'll catch her, thank you. This is Lorraine Carson. Yes, Ross and Sutherland, who I had the pleasure of joining up with last Saturday, and I hope maybe you saw some of the... I've just been asking, I've seen the flag which is called Hope, Lorraine. What's this one called?
This is the Golspie Girl.
This is Golspie Girls.
Yeah, the Golspie Girl. Yeah, this one was brought up for Manifest in Golspie.
Okay. See you later.
See you later.
Come on, say hello to Scotland.
Hello, how are you all? Hope you're all with us.
I won't walk the whole length of the march, but as you can see, we're growing in numbers, and that's very, very necessary. I'll go back to the beginning. Because I think we've started moving. I was talking to Wendy, who's also doing a live stream, and she and I agreed that we'll call it one of the joys, it's not really, when you're live streaming, but you actually probably walk three times as much as the actual march, because you walk back and forward down the length of it. Mr. McCaskill, you're on Independence Live,
Alright.
and you are live as we stand
All
here.
right, well, I'm just waiting to get into the march, so I was just looking for my colleagues from Alba. There's a few of them in there, but I've got a couple to join.
If I find them, I'll say anything. I'll let them know.
Our banner's coming along. Yeah.
Okay, nice to see you
And
here.
yourself.
How are you doing?
Hello, stranger.
Hello, stranger. Do you want a quick thing on the power grab and the resources of Scotland that are being stolen from us
was the power grab for 3 years after the Continuity Bill, hands round our Parliament the 23rd of March 2018. Now we're living it. Go the gallant Highlanders.
There are two people in Scotland who can talk the hind legs off any donkey you've ever met.
One is behind the camera and one is over here in front of it.
I'll see you later. Eh?
Good to see you. How are you keeping?
Okay. I hope I'm allowed to speak to people I haven't seen in ages. For those that don't know, Inverness, the particular bit we're walking along is called Ness Walk, for what is quite obvious reasons. I'm going to try and just get to the front and then I'll stop and let you see everyone going past. So you get friends or people you know that have come to Inverness for the rally and the march. You can say you've seen them. May I just squeeze past you? Thank you. Someone earlier on told me the name of the bridge that you can see there, and I've forgotten it, my apologies. But if you see the buildings in the far distance, including Inverness Castle, that's the route we're going to be taking. It is good to see people that you haven't seen for a long while. Faces you recognise. Good morning, I'm not just talking to myself, you are live on Independence Live. So, say hello to anyone you know anywhere. Tell me your name, if you don't mind.
Hi, it's Keith here, saying hello to Neil, Ian, cousins, friends, hello.
Thank you. Where are you from, Neil? Keith, I beg your pardon.
Inverness.
You're from Inverness?
Yep.
You happy with the turnout?
I think considering the fact there's a rail strike that would maybe meant we wouldn't get the usual numbers coming in from Nairn and Forest and so
yep.
on. And also, I think the mood has changed a bit. COVID did that, I think. People are less likely to want to be in big groups now. I think that's an instinct that's got into us now.
Well, having been at all the previous marches, this is undoubtedly one that's got more people at it, I think, than the ones I've been at before. And I think that's a very, very good thing.
That's good.
Not that...
Picking up, you think?
Very much so.
That's good to hear.
Thanks, Keith, for talking to me. May I squeeze through here, please? Thank you. Oh, my apologies. Are things picking up? I think so. Because it's taken me a wee while to get to the front here.
I grew up singing and having a ball. Yeah. As he does. I better get a move on. Stuck.
You are live on Independence Live. Can we have a wee wave, please? Say hello to Scotland.
Hello, Scotland.
Thank you. I'm sure one day I'll get arrested for just speaking to people who I've never met in my life before. But from where I am at the moment, the 4 younger people that I introduced you to earlier are on the walk with us. That's something that really pleases me. We start seeing the different ages taking part. Right folks, we've made it, front of the march. I'm going to shout in a few seconds, ladies and gentlemen, forgive me. Thank you. Can I have a wave for Independence Live, please? And pass it back. Can I have a wave for Independence Live? Can I have a wave, please, for Independence Live? Again. Can I have a wave for Independence Live, please? Can I have a wave for Independence Live, please? Can I have a wave for Independence Live, please? Wave to Scotland. Wave for Scotland. I'm looking for a wave for Independence Live. And a few smiley faces, please. Well done. I'm looking for a wave for Independence Live. From the two grannies. That's yes, Ross Sutherland that are passing us by. If you saw the photo I put on Independence Live, the sign that is being carried is Independence is normal. This is what I meant by walking further than the marches, because we have to catch up with the front again. But I saw Wendy going past. Hang on, I'm going to shout again. I'm looking for waves for Independence Live. And a few people. And a smile, please. Thank you. I'm looking for waves from you for Independence Live. You're live on Independence Live. Give me a wave. And a smile. Speak to you later, Lindsay. That's it. You're live on Independence Live. Wave to Scotland, they're watching you. Let's see if we can get to near the front before we start going through. We go over one of the main bridges over the River Ness, leads into the city centre. I want to see if I can catch them coming up. The street at that point. that you'll have gathered. There's quite a long march here. I don't know who's at home, but I hope someone at home is counting every single individual. We want a grand total. That, just in case I confused anyone, was actually a joke. I've always heard that the exact number is less important than the fact that there was a presence. I seem to remember back to, I think it was 2018, we had the march in Inverness. And this is roughly where we started from. And I think this is the same route that we did back then. I'm willing to be corrected in that because I know there's been a later march. You are on a thing called Independence Live, which is broadcasting all over Scotland at the moment and the world. Who should I speak to? You were cheering people on. Why?
We are from Catalonia, Barcelona.
Well done. And you've arrived today.
We want the same Scottish independence.
Oh, I know.
About Spain.
We
are not Spain. We are Catalonia.
We follow everything that's going on in Catalonia. Sorry. And there was one of the Catalonian ministers was in court in Scotland. I don't know whether you saw about that. Lady. Yeah, forgive me, I've forgotten her name. That's it. That's it. Okay. And every time she appeared in court, we turned up to support her. Right. Nice meeting you. I think it would be Jerry that would be the one from Independence Live that would have the closest relationship with Catalonia, having been out there. Okay folks, sorry I'm using that word again. We've missed them going up the bridge, but we'll catch them up at some point. Let me see if I can. I hope you can see them in the distance. Perhaps, I don't know, when you do a live stream, you're on your own, you do your own thing because we're not professionals. Stress that, we're all amateurs. We're all volunteers. And one of the things I always stress is we're looking for more volunteers, not just for events such as this. Again, I'll refer back to when I went to Inverness and I went to Tain, etc., Those were stalls that I was visiting. Now I had a reason for visiting, which was to do with the declaration of a Sovereign Scot initiative. But you do some live streams. You find out what's going on in the local area, what kind of business activity is taking place. And you can all learn to do just that kind of thing. And those of us from Independence Live are more than happy to talk you through how it's done. I'm the person that makes the most mistakes. Start them young.
This is your first time being at a march?
It is indeed.
How are you?
Little one.
Are you liking it so far? Yeah. Have you been shouting for freedom?
He's been whooping. He's been doing his first whooping.
Good. All right, thank you very much. Some folk would have just let that happen.
Well, I'm a nurse, so
all right,
I
so
don't
you've
want to
looked after me. So you're really enjoying it though?
I'm loving it.
Good. It's a brilliant atmosphere.
Yeah, it is. We've got to stand up now. We can't just stay at home and do this from our armchairs. We've got to come out in the actual numbers.
Exactly.
And show them that we want this.
And see for anybody that's maybe a wee bit scared or worried to come on a march because they've never been on one and they maybe don't know anybody, what advice would you give to them?
Well, I don't know anybody and I'm English as well, but everyone's so friendly. I mean, everyone in Scotland is friendly anyway, but the independence crowd are all so lovely. Everyone's so welcoming.
It's a friendly, happy atmosphere.
Yeah, it is. Everyone's
good
happy.
spirits.
No one's angry. Well, a bit angry inside.
Aye.
But we know how to party.
But they know how to behave and protest peacefully.
Yeah, of course.
Well, I'm really glad you came. And remember and add me on Facebook.
I will do.
Have you remembered my name?
Yes.
Oh, that's good then. You got a better memory than me. I'll see you later and take care. So, that was one of the women I had met. And this is our first march with a wee boy. And they're loving it. Hiya. Your arms like Popeye at the end of this. Hiya. Hiya. Hello. See, yous are only walking this once. I'm up and down, up and down. See you after. You're right, Kenny. Good. And good to see. Is this your wife, Kenny? Nice to meet you. I'm Wendy McDonald on Facebook. Is this your dog that was not well? She's a lot better now. I'm glad to see that. She could come with you. See yous after. If you see anybody you know, please tag them. Hiya. Oh yes, here's a noisy bit down here. I like the noisy crowd.
Independent.
Kind of barricaded between walls and construction work is Inverness Castle. I think most of you will know Wendy, fellow live streamer. What you won't have maybe noticed is that time, unusually she was walking forwards. And if anyone doesn't know why that's unusual, Wendy quite often goes at the very front of the march and walks the whole way going backwards. Which is highly dangerous. Let's have a look-see from up here.
Hiya. You're doing well carrying that. I know, and it's a heavy flag. Uh-huh. Here's Ian again. Here goes my copyright infringement. Hiya. Hiya. Alright, Stephen. Lynn. Oh, no bother at all, Peter. I enjoy doing it for folk that aren't here.
Hello.
Hello.
You alright again?
Aye. I can hardly see my screen, but
At least you're recording.
I'll be doing more screaming and screaming.
Well, that's part of it.
It's quite big, isn't it?
Aye, it is. That's what I was saying. I think this is one of the biggest maybe this year.
On that bridge, the crowd that was waiting.
Aye, see when you seen, we had turned the bridge and was going down the street, but they were all still coming. Aye, that was good. It's a lot bigger. Thank God. Hopefully that's the start of them getting bigger now.
3.5 miles. Can we put the photographers on Independence Live? Okay, come on, tell me your name, come over.
I'll get this, I'll catch you later.
Will you?
I'll be at the end.
Okay. I'm looking for the names of the photographers that follow us.
Oh, I take photos for Inside Independence, as a Facebook group.
Okay, well, you're on Independence Live.
Oh,
So don't be
doing,
shy,
you
say hello to your group.
How you doing, you alright? Can I get back to work?
Depends where you're going, you go round the corner. I'll do my traffic bit. Can you maybe just hold up like these? Hold up a wee minute till these cars get out. I remember once in Glasgow in one of the marches, there was a queue of, I don't know, let's say it was a very long queue of cars who had all been sitting for the better part of at least half an hour. And I thought, Mike, just ask everyone kindly to stop for a short while, not a long while. And all the cars got out. And the next thing I got was a row from the police. We're now going downhill, so I'll try and catch up a wee bit. Yep, definitely slowing down. That makes me feel a lot better.
My true love will never meet it. I don't know the words to that, but sorry, buds. Up.
And I've caught the two of you slouching against the wall.
We're standing here because we wanted to miss the hill.
We're old guys.
We'll join in.
What about the rest of us?
Aye, you just said you're a youngster.
Who am I talking to?
Tom White.
Tom White?
Tom White.
Tom.
Angus Walker.
Where are you from, Tom?
The Black Isle, Alkeek.
Okay.
I'm near Ford.
You've not come that far then?
No. This is why we came the hills there.
And you brought the weather with you?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Aye, it was raining
Well,
this morning.
You stand there, miss the hill and keep the weather intact, okay? That's your job, Tom. I think we now have 2 marches, the front and the back. And I'm going to walk past a certain Mr. McGuinness, who is going to get charged for all the photographs he's taken of me this morning. Morning, David.
All right.
It's a good march, eh?
It is, aye. I don't know where all the people came from. They just need to come out the side streets and join in. I mean, there's only 400 or 500 at the start point. We've now got 2 marches on the go.
That's what I've just said.
Bob up there's going like mental. I nearly died on the way up the hill keeping up with them.
Join the club.
I think we'll stick the Elizabeth piece, mate. Yeah, that means get right out here, eh? Not the roots of my actual week.
Can I just squeeze past a wee minute? Judith, you're on Independence Live.
How are you?
I'm fine. I bet you're pleased with today.
My goodness, it's been wonderful, isn't it? This is the 4th march we've had in Inverness, and this is a great city to have it in.
Plus the singing.
My goodness, the singing always helps.
Well,
It always helps. We've had a brilliant run up to it. Yesterday we were very busy in the Inverness hub, and today, this morning again, another one. Sorry, I've got long COVID, so my puffs are
okay.
that. But I've got my granddaughter with me today, because after all, independence is not my generation will benefit from it, but hers will, and that's why we're here. We're here for all our kids. We're here for all our grandkids.
Right.
And most of all, we're here because we need to be here. I've never heard anybody yet tell Boris Johnson, David Cameron that they could not, and they were forbidden to have an EU referendum. So why the hell would we put up with them telling us that we have got no democratic right in having not a referendum for the Scotland to be away from Wales?
To all the people watching who have not met Judith before, you'll now know why I made a beeline for her.
Here's my wee car, and this is my car, and it will remain like that for the rest of the weekend. It's wonderful. That's what
Nice
it's about.
seeing you, Judith.
Andrew, you take care. It's lovely
Okay.
speaking to you. You take care of yourself.
Again, someone I haven't seen in ages. Oops. If you heard whoops, it was a hole in the road. The dangers of live streaming. And the music comes courtesy of Ian McNeil. And Ian best known, well not best known, but well known for being an avid Bridges for Indy fanatic. That's quite kind of them. They've stopped so I can catch up. As David McGuinness said, where did they all come from? And isn't it brilliant that they did? Oh, we're on the move again. I met people in Inverness from Catalonia. Did you see them?
No, not yet. I've been trying to get all of the banners.
One of the group of the people that did the 500-mile walk. I've seen famous endeavour. When?
Yesterday.
Sometimes the local council have to get involved, obviously, in how these marches and rallies are arranged. And that sometimes very much affects the route that can be used. And I suspect, having gone through the city centre, they've now maybe chosen to put us on a less busy route. But to be fair, this is the way to get to where the rally will be held, which is known as Castle Heather Park. And I'm glad to say, for my benefit, Castle Heather Park is downhill from here. If you can hear the band, that's us near the front again. You're on Independence Live.
Am I? You can speak to her, she's better than me. She's got words.
I think, did we meet earlier when you were in the garden? No, I think no, I beg your pardon.
No, that's our secret.
I've just told Scotland our secret. Who am I speaking to?
You're speaking to Wilma Bowie.
Hello, Wilma.
Inverness.
Inverness.
And one of the people that helped with a bit of the organisation, helped all under one banner.
I was just speaking
Spreading the word. You're speaking to Judith.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you lot must be happy with today.
Absolutely delighted.
Weather and the numbers.
Yeah. We're trying to see just approximately how many, because we started later on with some of the people that weren't able to go the full length.
Yep. That included me, by the way, you never.
Yeah, fantastic. It's just us in the March in 2020 is beyond our expectations.
Well, the last time I was here was 2018.
Yeah.
Right, and I still remember that day.
Yes.
It's a great place for a march.
It is a lovely atmosphere, so positive, and it's lovely that all of the groups, all independent supporters are now together. Whether you're SNP, AUOB, Green, non-party affiliated, our goal is independence. Doesn't matter what party you are, you focus on the main goal. Independence, amalgamated together.
Earlier on, Ian McNeil, who brings his music box,
yes,
had the music going, and everyone was singing.
Aye.
Now, it didn't matter whether you were out of tune or not.
No.
They were singing for Scotland, and one of the key parts of these marches is how much people can enjoy themselves totally peacefully.
Yes, and just the togetherness, the passion and the enthusiasm. It's fantastic.
Wilma, let's keep the secret, okay?
We will, Matt.
Thanks for
Us
talking
and
to me.
everyone that's watching. Take care.
And
I'll
you.
See you later.
Beautiful looking Kia. I know, they only need to walk at once. Right, I'm still sweating under my hat. Yeah. Like and share and tag anybody you know. Hi Anita.
Just to cover it. Okay.
Thank you.
One quick question.
Okay, I couldn't really hear you, but yeah.
In comparison to what may have been reported earlier.
I haven't watched
this
any
week.
of this reported earlier.
Okay. This week there was a lot of reports.
I didn't see them. I was making a TV program.
Okay.
And I'm
Joy-
filming because I'm filming in Trinent and Haddington tomorrow because that's where my ancestors come from. So
Okay.
I'm mainly reading about Trinent and Haddington in the 18th century.
You're backing yourself up.
What's
But
that?
you're getting the information you need.
No, I'm doing my research.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, my friend.
Thank you.
I thought I would invite an outside mainstream media interview to pay attention to a peaceful march. When the person who's doing the reporting this time, namely me, does so politely and without...
Good. Thank God it's not raining because it's behaviour.
Mate, I'm going to push on
doing amazing.
and I'll see you further along the line, alright? You have a good day.
The other big
Take
flag.
care.
Honestly, man.
Right, we'll push through and see if we get back conversations with people. And these amicable as that man is. They are. Smiles everywhere. Sorry for the jumping. I had to take it off my stick because it was obscuring my view. Too much information, folks. Too much. Right. All sorts of tartans. There's that guy with a blue tartan. He was smart. I've got Ramsey tartan.
I'll see if I can get you one. How many do you need? 4? Would you carry them if I got them?
Sure.
Hiya. I'm doing fine. I've just done a report and that. Yeah, but to be fair, it does take us from where we started to where we're finishing. But it's a bit of a bypass.
You've got to get back to where you started, the bus back there.
Well, I dropped my car off here first.
Oh, did you?
And then some kind gentleman from Inverness gave me a lift back to where we started.
You came up in the bus this morning.
Sorry.
Excuse me, thank you.
You're on Independence Live. Who am I talking to?
John.
John, where are you from?
East End of Glasgow.
Okay, you came up in the bus this morning?
Yes, me and my friend, aye.
The bus is running okay because the trains are obviously off.
It was great. They were pretty busy, right enough, but there was no hassle when it left and on schedule and got here on time, so it was good.
And you're okay for getting back?
You get the 6:30 bus back to Glasgow.
Well done, you.
Sorry. Probably put a show on, haven't we?
Well,
the numbers are getting back up again. Slowly but surely.
That's what I've just reported. And they've all come out of somewhere because at the start there weren't quite as many as are now on the march. And that's a thing for people to remember.
Well, we've been here with one since May when they started them again. And I missed one. They were up at Perth on Tuesday night.
Yeah.
Quite a good show in there, but there was all sorts there. But everybody get different opinions, but basically they don't want the Tories in Scotland. So that's about the size, yeah.
Hang on a wee second. There's some dogs going past. You've got some.
We've got some bowls. We thought before it was such a hot day that we didn't want the wee doggies to be tired.
You are live on Independence Live.
Oh, thank you. I'm just so pleased that people turn out and we have such a lovely crowd. When it went past before, we want to support as much as we can.
And
so we're not walking, but everybody on the doorsteps is supporting you.
This is brilliant that you've done that for the dogs.
We're delighted and people like dogs, and we just want to give our people what we can. You know what we.
Could I ask your name?
I'm Sarah Ramsey.
Right, Sarah Ramsey. Say hello to the world.
Nice to meet you, world. Welcome to Scotland. We're the friendliest nation.
Oops, kids. Where's your cameras, BBC? Where's your cameras? Welcome to Scotland and your ain folk. And I make no apology for using the word folk. Right, let's have a look what's behind us. Did your dog get a drink?
Yes, he did that.
Did you get a drink?
No, I didn't stop long enough.
Catch-up time. I'm not saying it's a knack, and I'm not saying I've got it, whatever it is, but sometimes there are people who look as though they are not that happy about this march going down past their house. I hope I was wrong, but I decided I don't think I'll try and interview them.
Same shit, different beard.
Good morning. You are live on something called Independence Live at the moment. Language careful with, okay? But you obviously are a resident of Inverness?
Aye, here.
Okay.
I don't belong to Inverness, I belong to way up north.
Whereabouts?
Helmsdale on the east coast.
Oh, I know where you are, right.
We are, aye.
Okay, are you, let me ask you of your impression of this walking past. What's your thoughts?
I think it's fantastic.
Okay.
It's fantastic, and it's, you know, it shows people that, you know, you read in the press and everything, you just go along there to the wee shop, the paper shop, all the headlines outside it. Senior saying, I can't say it, but S-H-I-T.
Yeah.
It is, you know, all the headlines and everything. You just can't believe them.
And then you might... Then you meet this,
Aye.
and it's joyful and it's peaceful,
Exactly, aye.
and people are singing.
Exactly. Quite lovely.
And they're telling us what they want. Do you know what they want?
What?
There's a wee shout out to give. What do you want?
Aye.
Independence. And when do you want it? And the answer.
Family, not one of you, but what do you call her? Blonde bombshell.
Margot McDonald.
Aye, Margot.
And coming on your left.
Margot, and then we're on the go.
Sneaking back fast.
We've always voted yes.
Yeah.
Aye.
Thanks, my friend.
Aye. Okay, doke.
But I'm sure if you're
of
an independence movement, there'll be somebody here that you don't know.
You claimed it. Touched it. Saved
Right,
it.
folks, look up into the line. See a bit of barn.
Right. It's a good flag, that one, isn't it? That would cover all it was in my house.
They were about 15 minutes.
Only catch them up.
Twice, probably. He's so there, he's going for it. Bit shaky there, Jason. They get better. Hold up for us. Work on it.
Up and down. Practice. See, the first time I come back to do it, oh, it was a real struggle. No, you get to see your legs today. Aye, I thought that.
Rally point. I'll do what's become usual for me. I'll stop live streaming and put on my other hat, which is to find out who wants to sign the Declaration of a Sovereign Scot. I won't do a big spiel about it. All I'll say is lots and lots more people are beginning to understand why I chose to go down the route of international law and invite people to consider joining me. As I say, I'm pleased to report that more and more people are beginning to understand why that will prove important eventually. Watch out, folks, over the next maybe month as we approach the hearing at the Supreme Court. Events which will, to a very large extent, dictate the future of our country, will be happening over the next month, up to the 12th, I think it is, of October. I'll leave you with this one abiding memory of what the Declaration is about. No matter what happens, when it's domestic law in a UK Supreme Court, the Declaration avoids everything by taking the international law perspective into account. All the declarations have been and will continue to be lodged at the United Nations.
We're on Independence Live at the moment,
And it was United Nations
hopefully that'll go out to a few folk
in their original.
Lost So I get a picture of this wee lassie in the middle here with a blue t-shirt on. Right, now, no, it's a cracking portrait there. Right, love. Hey, aye, what's your name? Right, how are you feeling, love? Sorry? Where are you from? You local? Inverness, aye. Alness, right, up north. Right, right, brilliant. Brilliant. I think I was talking to somebody a minute ago from Alness. Who is it? There's that many people I talk to. Rebecca. Right, you have a lovely day. I'm Jason, right, at Independence Live. You can check this out on Independence Live later on. You better move up a wee bit. I'm slowing you down, I'm sorry, darling.
From 1320 in the Declaration of Arbroath through the Claim of Right, all of that was left to us. We have to use it, folks. And the Declaration, I hope, will at least signify to the generations to come that when you sign it, you were here, you were alive, you exercised your claim of right as a sovereign Scot, and you declared that you no longer give your consent to the Treaty of Union. And the copies of all the forms go to the United Nations with me scanning a copy. And that copy I hope eventually.
Thanks very much for that. Look on my thoughts.
Yet to come. Those yet to come in a Scotland that regained its independence. That's us at the rally point just up ahead. So with that little speech, Kate crashed it. I'll leave you folks. Have a great day wherever you are. And from a great march in Inverness, Sir Alba.
I remember right, I was sitting in the grass the last time here. Remember, I don't know if you're watching Heather Anderson, I got you coming past, we were on Accord. You're right.
There's a house up there, 22 Johnstone Place. That's where my father was born. Well, he's now dead. But this part
sorry to hear that.
We trip up to 22. As in can't swing to the Johnstone House. Your dad's old place where my mother and my dad used to roll it down.
Alright, no problem. See you soon. It stopped raining. You can actually lean this in the ground and it'll be pretty steady. Whether the rally won't start till everybody's in. Totally bit further and that's yours. I just collapsed here and wasn't getting up again. You're right, Red. It's been a good march. It's been a great march, man. Biggest one this year, Red. No, but it's been the biggest this year, I reckon. It is, aye. That's what I've seen. Aye.
Hopefully that's a start.
I mean, I was thinking, Reg.
We've got this support up here, this is the Highlands, kind of story right out here, you know.
I know. And I was thinking, because of the train situation and all
I know
that.
that as well, man.
But I mean, that's great. I'm just going to follow on behind everybody. Me too. It's been really good.
What do we want?
Aye.
What do we want, sir? What do we want?
Tell her to bring it with her.
What do we want, sir?
I probably did.
There's another one.
I'll be here, man.
What,
Smoke it.
I wouldn't say loud, Reg.
Black lung. Another black lung. What do we want? When do we want, sir? Yesterday.
No.
700 years ago.
No,
How did that, eh? But we had it then,
Any
didn't we?
like-
We did.
Mine's only look thicker because
I
I've
thought
got
that was a tattoo, no true
Good job.
paint it on. The only reason mine looks thicker red is because I've got thermal long socks on
Aye.
underneath as well.
I tell you that, no man, go on a pair of joggers.
I'm too
Well,
freezing.
man, it makes it a little bit more.
What do we want? What do we
Right, I
want,
better go
sir?
in, get ready, swap
What do we
the
want?
stands over and then film the rally.
What do we want, sir?
I'll maybe need to jump up the stage. I've got something floating in my
Oh, have you gear? Oh, that was good, Reg. I'm glad you found it then. Good. Just listen in case somebody phones it, in case I pal or that.
man,
Oh,
but
has
in
it?
my ear, no,
You can't do it. No, but that's good, Reg. Aye. So
What do we
somebody's lost their
want?
phone and Reg has
What do we
found
want,
it.
sir?
And he'll hand it into the
What do we
stage and there'll be a
want?
shout out for the stage.
What do we want, sir?
Phone, obviously,
Tory,
it's you and the type of phone it is.
Tories! Tories! Tory, Tory, Tory! What do we want? What do we want, sir? What do we want? What do we want, sir? Tory, Tory, Tory! Tories! Tories! Tory, Tory, Tory! What do we want?
Far up here it is, I can't remember.
What do we want, sir?
Alright, John. It's been a really good march, so it has. This has been the
There's
biggest
the
one this
Caithness
year,
gang.
I think.
Back again.
Alright, Julie. Weather's
You're on the
been good.
Caithness crew, aye? You're on the
There's a few
Caithness,
folk
no?
here that I've never been to a march
Oh,
before.
Fifers, you're nothing
Really
better, nothing
enjoying
better.
themselves, and they can't wait to do it again. So addictive when you start. Oh, wee schnauzer dog. Jan, somebody was asking for you. They were asking, where are you, what you up to? And I just went, skullduggery. Because sometimes Saturdays are skullduggery day.
What do we want, sir? Tories, Tories, Tories! 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 Tory, Tory, Tory!
I was lying there having to deal.
What do we want? What do we want, sir?
This one's got dropped here.
Yeah, we've got Mexicans here as well. We've got all sorts here. We've got Bulgarians, Hungarians.
Guys, but we're getting to
You've got
leave
English
the
folk here.
flag but actually fighting against wind. Not be long. Get my camera set up and then go and see the indie.
You're all on Independence Live. If you want to get a shout.
Something cheap.
What do we want? When do we want to?
Okay. Just need to look and see if I can find my stand.
What do we want? When do we want to? Tory, Tory, Tories! Tories! I know. I don't want any of them, I know, but it's Labour as well, isn't it? Aye. But they're Tories. I know, aye. You're on Independence Live. I'm not going to get in an RGB. Everybody's got a point of view. As long as we respect that, we're all right. Aye. Aye. No, I would shout Tory, Labour, Lib, but we need to make the list even longer because there's that many. Right? But I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you. Aye. It's just a rallying cry to get their voices up, that's all. We all hate them anyway, that's so it's allowed. Apologise to anybody on there that's offended. Don't know if I said anything wrong there. Yeah. You're a good flagpole there. Another one. Oh, they're crowding somebody. They must have a criminal in their sights. Hey, buddy. That's a big dog. I scared you. Sorry.
What did you say?
Did I scare you?
No, I'm saying he's leading the way.
Aye, oh, he's leading the way. Aye. Well, that's what dogs are. The pack. We go with the pack, didn't they? Right, and just. Yeah.
I'm still watching. I've got my salva top on. Fiona, what do you say to Dave if you pass by him up here? Am I down there if you pass by? Salvo flag down there at Stratton. But I'll see if I can zoom in on it right. Let me see if it's going up. No, it's it. Yeah. You alright?
Aye.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. Done it today in the march?
I don't know, but this is the biggest march this year, I'd say, Ross. Quite big. It was a good march. There's lots of people waiting at the sides to join in with us.
They were teaching their minds.
Yeah. Aye. But you should maybe see if you can get to play a gig at a rally sometime. Oh yeah, brilliant, we'll have live streaming. Aye, that's good.
What's the big? People splitting in.
Aye. Ready, go on, Ross. still live now. So can you just hold that? And it's the cam, it's on there, so it's looking right at you. So you can film the stage.
You want me to do the foot?
Welcome everybody to Inverness, Alderman Barnett's 32nd event since the referendum in 2014. Thanks for everybody for making the effort for turning up. Also, Police Scotland, Inverness Council, Saraba Pipes and Drums, and can I have a big roar for the mighty Yes Bikers! Okay, a wee announcement. There's a guy called Mike Fennick kicking about.
Over there. There he's there.
Where?
There.
Where's
there?
There. Oh, there.
There in the square.
Right hand side of the stage. It's the declaration of our sovereign Scot. For those who wish to add their signature, make their own individual declaration and have it recorded as part of our independent Scotland's history. So, if you want to do that, Mike's over there with the forums. If you can catch him at some point during the day. Okay, enough of me waffling. We've got a load of great speakers for you today. First up is going to be Fiona Campbell and Wilma Bowie from Inverness.
Hi everybody! For the Gaelic speakers amongst us, coming hi! I'm Fiona, and I would like to give you all a big welcome to Inverness, the capital of the Highlands. What an amazing day, we've got a brilliant turnout today. Thank you all for coming. This is the 4th Independence March in Inverness, and each one stands on its own merits. Today we find ourselves closer to what we've all been vying for, an independent Scotland. Woo! We will continue our fight and build a better Scotland by campaigning together, and while we may take a different mode of transport, we should never forget that we're all on the same journey. All of us who have made it here today, others who are at home, other international supporters, and we should never forget the ones who have sadly passed away before their dreams realised. We will continue on their behalf. Most of us have been on this road for a few years, some decades. Some are new to the realisation that Scotland has every right to be an independent country. It's up to each and every one of us to listen to those who are not quite with us yet and be patient, considerate and respectful. So we have some work to do. We should demonstrate and reiterate that it's our democratic right that us Scots actually get the government we vote for us to make decisions in Scotland, for Scotland, and not for a government in another country. Taking and tapping everything from our land, our seas and our air, belittling our people, our culture and our history. All the while with their long arm of unionist prostitutes, misinforming, misleading, berating us, being consistently condescending and ignorant towards Scotland and anything Scottish. So we together, regardless of political party, have to work together and show the Westminster Conservative and Unionists who masquerade as a functioning government that we won't shut up and do as what we're told. We have work to do. We know that the Unionists in Holyrood and in Westminster won't give up their cash cow, the plundering and drip feed of our resources to keep their treasury afloat. This year will be a tough one. We will witness an enabled Westminster austerity in full flow and watch how family, friends, neighbours and colleagues struggle to pay the bills, feed their families and heat their homes, all whilst fuel costs soar and interest rates rocket. We must remember that many families, even those that work full-time, will need our support. We have to be ready to reach out, to ask, how are you doing? Is there anything I can do to help you to make your day better? Even a friendly smile to a stranger in the street can help lift their spirits.
We could be opening our Yes Hubs and provide an hour of comfort, a warm bowl of soup and a chat for those who may be suffering in silence. We're a caring country. I'm sure at one time many of us have appreciated a kind word or a bit of advice. I look around and recognise a wealth of talent within our independence movement. Let's start using it to help others that need it. If you can assist in any way, please get in touch with your local hub to see how you can help. Together we have to look out for each other. Together we can. I hope, like all of you, our next gathering will be to celebrate our Independence Day. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day and our Highland hospitality. Over to you, Wilma.
Thank you, and hello to everybody that's made it to Inverness today. We've just been told that this is the largest gathering and the largest march so far this year. Coming up here today, especially considering that there is the train strike. So fantastic. Give yourselves all a round of applause. Right, so you'll have all gathered by now. I'm Wilma Bowie. You've probably seen all the posts that we've been sharing on Facebook on behalf of Inverness. Now, I'm not a politician and I'm not a councillor. I'm not a blogger, and I'm not any kind of social figure. I'm just an ordinary person that believes with all of my heart that Scotland should regain her independence. You may have noticed I'm actually rather nervous standing here speaking today in front of you all, but that made me think about all those who are actually nervous about independence, those that are undecided and not sure about independence. So what can you and I do to give others the confidence to vote yes? For me, my change came in 2012. I was undecided, but through research, finding out more information and talking to others, the more I found out about the positive benefits of our resource-rich country, the stronger my belief to be a yes voter became. And I voted yes in the 2014 referendum. We all know the facts and the reasons why Scotland would be better ruled by her own people and a government of our choosing. But not everybody does. Today, I'm standing here talking to all you wonderful like-minded people. But there is a significant percentage of undecided voters that we can all reach out to. To do this, I truly believe that all pro-independence political parties, MSPs, MPs, councillors and us grassroots supporters should galvanise to go forward as one amalgamated independence movement. Draw our strengths from our passions, enthusiasm and collective knowledge to encourage the nervous and the undecided, and who knows, perhaps even the odd no to yes. We need to learn from the mistakes of the past, discourage internal spats, ignore the trolls, and focus purely on a positive campaign, eliminating any excuse the unionists have for trying to divide us. So don't feed the trolls. Westminster persistently tells us that now is not the time. But you and I know that now is the time. It's the time for us all to pull together, to become one movement, showing the undecided voters a positive, inspiring campaign, showing them the potential and the benefits of Scotland being a normal, independent country. Independence is normal, and that's the message we need to get across. If each and every one of us here today manages to inspire at least one other person to vote yes instead of no, can you imagine what a majority we would have in the next referendum? So let's go out there and let's do it. Let's go forward as one undivided group and give Scotland her independence back. And finally, one last thing. My husband suggested that we do this, and for once, I'm going to do what he suggested. Freedom! Once more, and everybody join in! Freedom!
Thank you! Can I just say, she wanted me to keep this quiet today, but she's not getting away with that. It's actually Jane Loveland's birthday today, so happy birthday, Jane! Don't forget everybody to go and say it to her. Cheers!
That's a bit nasty.
No, it's not.
Right, thanks for that, Fiona and Wilma. Right, a wee shout out on the march. There was a lady with a buggy, and one of the stewards gave her a tripod and a phone to bring up to the rally site. If she could make her way up to the stage, please. Right, anybody performing today or speaking, could they please register at the stage? Official figures for today, 3,000. It's the biggest we've had for the start of the pandemic. Well done. Next person I'm going to introduce is a wee bit upset. His pal Manky Jacket never showed up today. So, sometimes he's silent, sometimes he's not so silent. He's a big shout for a silent Klansman.
I'm going to make this quick. First of all, thank you everybody for coming today. Those numbers just show we're on our way back. Two things I'm going to talk about today: silence and noise. Two very different things in Scotland, both which we have a lot of. Firstly, I understand just how excited it is that we get at these marches and events. We love to make a lot of noise, so our message is heard loud and clear about the passion for independence for our country. Our record at these events remains unblemished. Not one bit of bother, with hundreds and 200,000 people appearing out on the streets of Scotland. That is amazing. We never ever really have any bother, and that's the way we need to keep it. This week I wasn't there, but I've seen a lot of the filming from Perth, and what I would say is that's not us. We are not those people. Let me tell you this, people said that the people were spat upon. Eggs were thrown. Eggs, for Christ's sakes, we're starving. Why the bloody hell would we give away our food? It never happened.
No, it never did.
It never happened. So keep making your voices heard, and your amazing posters, your musical instruments, the march and the signs. Keep it loud, but direct it at the right people, because remember this.
BBC.
We're the good people, no the rude people. Secondly, and I'll get off the stage, about silence. As you know, I am meant to be the silent Klansman, no opposition today to be silent, but it's brilliant to be here. At our marches, we have the bikers, mobile speakers, musical entertainment, and our pipe band Sir Alba. But in general, the most noise comes from the marchers, bright, happy, and always in good spirits, no matter what the weather is. We just get on with the job of promoting indie. But silence can be just as powerful as shouting and bawling, especially if it's at the Tories or the Unionists, because they don't listen. The best silence is coming your way next year. At this point, I'm going to put this away because I might greet. The silence that you hear when you go to a polling station on the 19th of October 2023 and you go into your own private booth, that is your silence. And you have to use that silence wisely to remember how hard everybody has worked to get you into that booth. So I implore you, like the girl said before, I know you'll put your cross in the right place, but please get your pals to do it, get your friends, get your family, get everybody to do it, and use that silence. That silence is yours alone. The next day, again, get on with it. All the best, folks. Have a great day.
Well, first of all, can I say thank you for giving me a yellow microphone. Nice touch, everybody. What a fantastic march. What a fantastic march. So much joy and good humour, and I know you would have seen the tourists and the locals all watching and clapping and filming as you were going past. And that's what this movement is all about. It's about connecting with people. It's about getting the right things for people. And that's what we'll continue to do. In the Highlands just now, across Scotland and indeed across the other nations of the UK, there is a crisis for people. I was at a round table last week meeting with housing associations, social support groups, the Citizens Advice Bureau, the Highland Council and many others, talking about the looming crisis that people are facing, particularly over energy costs. These things are not an accident. The high level of inflation, higher than anywhere else in Europe, is not an accident. That's a matter of design. It's a matter of choice. It's a matter of the choice that's been made by the people that are running the government in Westminster. And it is not good enough. It's not good enough for anybody. It's broken for everybody, but it's certainly not good enough for Scotland. We stand somewhere that produces 325% of the electricity that we need from renewable sources. And yet we've got people terrified about the bills they face and people already suffering through poverty. That is not good enough. And we must be able to change that. We must be able to go forward. And for those people that seek to deny your democratic right, for those people who say you cannot choose a better future than the one imposed on you by self-serving people at Westminster, we've got to say that's not for us. We've got to say we have got a better choice for the people of Scotland, and we've got to get the message out to everybody in Scotland who are growing in their number and understanding that there is a different way ahead, there is a better choice for our people here. But we've got to get that message out over the next year to say to people, this is Scotland's time to make a difference. This is Scotland's time to take charge of its own affairs, to make its own decisions for its own people, to look after people, to choose a different type of society from the one that's being imposed upon us at the moment, to make different choices for our families, for our neighbours, for our friends, for our children and for our future, so that we're not left with a toxic legacy that's been produced through Westminster. And you are doing a great job through the engagement that you bring forward in order to do that. By speaking to your neighbours, to your friends, to your family, and indeed by speaking to those people who don't agree with you in a calm and measured way, in a friendly way, seeking to persuade. We will do the job of persuading people that there is a choice that they can take next year that will give us a better future for Scotland. And that future is through independence. And I cannot stress this enough. This is the opportunity for us to go out and engage in a much, much better way than we have before. Because what you're being met with at the moment is desperation and anger from people who have run out of ideas. They've run out of excuses. Nobody can tell you what the good reason for staying in the Union of the UK is at the moment. You ask Tory MPs, people who've had years to think about this, and they cannot come up with the lines. They say something vague about stuff that you would have had to do anyway during the COVID crisis about vaccinations, and they tell you a lot of fluff about how they managed to do that because they dragged us out of Europe through Brexit. It's all nonsense. It's all nonsense. They could have done that within Europe, and yet they made that choice to take us out. They made that choice of self-harm for Scotland and for the rest of the nations of the UK. But we're here and we can do something about it. And we can challenge, and we can make sure that that challenge is a friendly and engaging one, and a powerful and persuading one. And we have got the answers. We have got the ability. We have got the people. We have got the energy. We have got the ability. And we've got the wealth and resource in this country to make Scotland a success. So carry on the good work you're doing, take this forward, and let's realise Scotland's future for the better. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Stuart Henry. Sorry for not introducing you earlier because I was totally distracted anyway. But I'm just going to introduce Green Councillor Chris Balance. Give a big hand to a Greenie. We're all standing on the green. Come on.
Well done for coming here, the biggest march so far since the pandemic. Let's give another cheer of applause, not just for ourselves for being here, but particularly for AUOB for organising, doing all the work of organising us and getting us here. It's brilliant. Well done. Thank you. The other day, there was a university researcher doing a survey who asked me, how do you define democracy? And I said, democracy is when folk feel they've got a say in their street, their workplace, their country, and their future. Well, do you feel you have a say in Great Britain? No. Thank you. Do you feel you've got a say in who is going to be the next Prime Minister ruling over us? No. And is that democracy? Is it democracy that the next Prime Minister should be chosen by a few thousand Tories, mainly living in the south of England? Is that democracy? Is it democracy to be ruled by a Tory government which was voted in by less than 30% of the electorate across the UK? No, of course it's not. Is it democracy for Liz Truss to say she will ignore Nicola Sturgeon despite her being the elected leader of Scotland? No. And is it democracy for the refugees that Scotland desperately needs, the young refugees, skilled people, to be sent to Rwanda to face torture, genocide, and whatever they're going to face there? Of course it's not. And finally, is it democracy for Scotland to be taken out of Europe against our will, on the harshest of terms, taken out in an abysmal agreement, our children's possibilities of studying abroad taken away, our freedom of movement taken away, this is not democracy. Do you care whether it is Liz Thatcher on steroids or Rich Sunak, the billionaire with a tax-evading wife that rules over it? Is it going to make any difference at all to us? No, it's not. No, what? So when we're asked, should Scotland be an independent, self-governing country, what are we going to say? Yes! Yes! Of course we are. They may well deny us the right to a referendum. Why would they allow us? They know we're going to win. But if they do, they will have to call a general election. And eventually, and in that election, the Scottish Greens will stand on a platform of independence, for independence, and we will be saying a vote for us, like a vote for the other independence parties, is a vote for independence. And let the Tory Fib Dem Labour Party argue in that election for the Union if they can. The one thing I would tell you to beware of is that next election is going to be rigged. The legislation that is going through Westminster at the moment is planned to stop anyone voting unless you have a driving license or a passport or some other form of ID from the elections officer. And I can promise you, our elections officer at the moment is trying to work out how the heck she can work this system. Because we don't know how that election is going to be, but we do know that those people who are least likely to have driving licenses and passports are also those who are most likely to vote yes. So as soon as that election comes forward, we have to make sure that we have a thorough voter registration campaign to get all of our supporters able to come out and vote, and have nobody saying, I want to vote but I'm not allowed to, because that is the danger in the next general election. It won't apply to a Scottish election, it won't apply to a Scottish referendum, it will apply to Westminster, because Westminster is not a democracy and is not getting any more democratic. It's getting worse and it's getting less democratic. But friends, we know what democracy looks like. I'm looking at it now. This is what democracy looks like. Come on, join with me. This is what democracy looks like. Louder. This is what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. Loud enough that Liz Truss can hear it in her Westminster Palace bunker. Come on, one more time. This is what democracy looks like. Thank you. Vince Raymond.
The next speaker
Sorry about the sound.
Lucy DTH's Farmers for Yes. Give Lucy a big hand.
Well, as you can tell, I'm a farmer and I deal with a lot of rare breeds, and I would say that Farmers for Yes are quite a rare breed. But there are a few of us about in Ross-shire and Sutherland and other places, and maybe there's some here today, but the sun's shining, so they're probably making hay. Normally, I'm living on a farm called Lake Meln, which is near Ullapool in West Ross. And every day I'm having to deal with midges. So coming out to march today in Inverness is fantastic, because there's no midges and the wind's really keeping them at bay. But I wanted to talk about a greater threat than midges, and a threat that we have to farming. And I think back in 1997, the year before I took on running the farm, I chose to vote yes, yes for devolution and for tax raising powers. But now I can say 25 years on, it's clearly evident that devolution doesn't go far enough. We've had the vote in 2014 and we've got another vote coming up next year, and this has to happen and it will happen, and that's evident here today by the amount of people who are here. But one thing I can say as a farmer, something that's a real threat to us at the moment, is food security. Scotland, as a farming nation, has an unrivaled reputation in the production of hill livestock, which is the kind of area that I'm living in, but also in seed potatoes. everyone talks about the tatty famine, you know, and the sort of bad things that happened then, but one of the really great things that came out of that is that Scotland developed its science and technology to such a high level that Scotland is the world leader in the production of virus-tested stem cuttings for seed potatoes. As a direct result of Brexit, a Brexit that wasn't voted for by Scotland, the seed potato producers went into complete lockdown themselves and they were unable to sell their ware across the world. You know, Scotland's seeds are going to Egypt, Jersey, all the places you read about tatty. So that's just one example where Scottish agriculture's nearly been brought to its knees as a result of the Westminster government. So I'm very, very passionate about this, and I'd certainly like to encourage any other rural folk or people who are living and working on farms or crops to join. And even if you're, you know, the independence movement is a very broad movement. It doesn't have to be party political, but if you're passionate about running Scotland and self-determination of Scotland, then I think that can really support Scotland as a food-producing nation. In fact, food is one of Scotland's biggest manufacturing sectors, and the Scottish Government has an ambition for food production to be doubled and the output from this sector by 2030. That's simply not going to happen if we're still under the powers of Westminster. So, aside from that, we have the Internal Markets Bill, which is also affecting farmers, and that's actually, well, the Westminster government has actually been illegal in their operations with regard to introducing this bill, and sheep farmers and cattle farmers, particularly in the uplands, are under threat from imports from Australia now as a direct result. So how can Scotland be better together when we're always picking battles with Westminster? It's clear that it's time for us to come away, and there's no greater need for the proof of self-determination when Liz Truss said that she wasn't going to allow us self-determination. How can one individual go against democracy, or political parties to allow democracy? Anyway, returning to midges. They are a small seasonal annoyance that has beset farmers and rural folks in the summer months. But fortunately, they're short-lived, unlike the Westminster government. This is a persistent concern to the well-being of Scotland as a nation, and that threat continues day by day, and this doesn't get any better. The Yes movement is a movement for positive change, and a movement that will bring a positive relationship with other nations in the UK and abroad. And this will truly underpin the success of Scotland when we have freedom over international trade and international borders where we can trade on an equal footing with the rest of the world. So this is why I urge you people, if you're in a rural area, especially if you're living or working in a rural area, try to use your vote when it comes. Talk to your friends and neighbours. Talk to those people who are maybe not political, or talk to those people who are undecided. Because rural Scotland can actually no longer afford to wait in Westminster. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lucy. Can I remind you again, Mike Fenix here for anybody who wants to sign the Declaration of a Sovereign Scot. Mike, give us a wave. There he's there. Okay, next up, on behalf of the AUOB Party, Kenny McCaskill.
Thank you. Can I say it was a privilege to march, and I'm proud to address you. I think those who have kept our cause alive, those who continue to protest, deserve support, not denigration. Let me raise this point about what happened earlier in the week. I wasn't in Perth, but people were. They're rightly angry. Let me say, I condemn the abuse of the media. But let me direct you to the abuse of the media that I would like to see condemned. The killing of a Palestinian journalist by the Israeli forces, supported by a British government. The locking up of Julian Assange for exposing the war crimes of Blair and Bush, locked up by a British government. The murder of Kamal Khashoggi by the Saudis, supported by the British government, and by a Scottish government with Raytheon weapons being used in the Yemen. And indeed, even in Spain, we've seen protesters and journalists battened by Spanish police officers, and yet the ambassador for the Spanish government's given a reception in Bute House. So let's condemn the abuse of the media, but let's get a perspective, because in Scotland We have a right to protest. We've been doing so democratically and legitimately. And there'll be more hassle at football stadium this afternoon than there was earlier in the week protesting against a Tory government inflicting poverty on our people. I came back to the political struggle in 2019 and I was proud to do so. I did so because it was to be one more heave, one more shoulder to the charge to make sure we delivered independence. We delivered an outstanding electoral victory in Scotland, and yet again a Prime Minister was rejected by the people of Scotland. Did we see an independence convention called, as happened in Ireland 100 years before? No. We were told the priority was Brexit. We had to save England from itself. We were told, even by some leading politicians, the people of Scotland wouldn't stand for Brexit. Well, they had to, because there was no political leadership, and our economy now faces that catastrophe. We've been told to get in line. We've been told to wheesh for Indy. We've been told now is not the time. Well, if now is not the time, when will it be the time? Our economy is being crashed. Our people are being forced into poverty and austerity, the likes of which we've not seen from generations. That's not come by accident. It's not come because of war in the Ukraine. It's come because of deliberate decisions by a Tory government that looks after the rich and is empowering and impoverishing the people of Scotland. It's simply unacceptable. That's why we've got to insist that there will be a referendum and the Scottish people will have their democratic rights. I just wish that the Lord Advocate showed the same support for pursuing the cause for a referendum as she does in her Crown Office in pursuing those who tweet about matters that they find disgusting. If the same effort went into that, we'd probably be assured of victory in the Supreme Court. Let me say, I hope for success in the Supreme Court, but I ain't gonna hold my breath. But let me say this, what that means is that we have to ramp up the action. Now is the time. We have to resist. We have to get political leadership, and they have to show that leadership. They have to lead the ordinary people, not denigrating those who are protesting. There is a need for us people to resist. The rank and file trade union movement are now showing that enough is enough. They're not prepared to accept impoverishment, a reduction in living standards, cuts in terms and conditions of employment, and it's not just a class issue, it's a constitutional issue. We've got to make sure we remind the people of Scotland. Scotland is energy rich, and yet fuel poverty is rampant in our land. It is absurd that anybody should go cold in a household in Scotland. We've got more than enough oil and gas to be self-sufficient. We've got 97% of our wind capacity providing the renewable energy for us, and yet that has been taken for us. If we don't make that stand, then our people will lose hope. What you have done today is to keep the cause alive, to show that people are not prepared to accept it. We've got to get that message across to the political leadership. They have to recognise, as others down south, such as Mick Lynch, are showing, we're not prepared to take it anymore. Enough is enough. It's a time to protest. It's a time to resist. And if those in charge won't show political leadership, then it's time that others were put in their place.
We're just going to have a wee musical break now from Andy Docherty. We're going to have a few tunes, and then after Andy we have Anne Thomas from the Black Isle. So you get that. Once they get it together, that is. Here we go, big hand for Andy, cheers!
Hello, hello.
That's it, yeah.
singing songs to individuals, usually ladies.
Are you buzzing?
Sorry for this. I think that's it now. No, I like to sing songs to people, so I'd like to sing a song for Rishi and Truss. I'd like to sing to them in their absence. A song that's very apt for both of them. Scottish fame, farewell our ancient glory, farewell into the Scottish name, say famed in martial story. Now Sarbrand's tales always sang, and Tweed runs the ocean to mark where England's province stands, like a parcel of rogues in a nation. What forts Argyll could not subdue through many a warlike ages is wrought now by the coward feet of hiring traitors' wages. The English steel we could disdain, secure in valor's station, but English gold has been our bane. It's like a parcel of rogues in a nation. Oh, would that I had seen the day when tradesmen should bind us. My old grey hair would lay in clay, with Bruce and Royal Wallace. What pelf and power to my Leinster, I'll make this declaration. We're bought and sold for English gold, it's like a parcel of rings in a nation. Thanks a lot. Just a wee song to reinforce our credentials as European employers, and a message to our brothers and sisters across the English Channel. McGrory, West Donegal. You came to Glasgow with nothing at all. You fought the landlords and the Africa cold. You came to Glasgow with nothing at all. And Captain from Vilnius you came. You were headed for New York, but Leeds where you stayed. You built a big business, benefits all. You came to Glasgow with nothing at all. So in the old story I read that they came, the Gael and the Pit, the Angle and Dane, but so did the Irishman, Jew and Ukraine. In Scotland's story and their world just the same. Joseph D'Angelo dreams of the day when Italian kids in the grass market play under his shop when the boys went to war. Old Joe's a big man and he forgave all. Okay, thanks a lot.
Hi, thanks very much. That was Andy Docherty there. Is Anne Thomas in the area? You're next. I know everything's running a bit higgledy-piggledy here. But Anne Thomas to the stage, please. She was here a minute ago, I know she was. Right, she comes. And also I wondered if Kenny Jameson was around. You've not checked in, I don't know if you're here. If you could check in. Thanks very much. If you want to go up on there. There's steps in the back. Excuse us for it all being a wee bit higgledy-piggledy today. I think it's something to do with the wind. God's farting.
Hello, I'm Anne Thomas, as was said, Highlands and Islands Greens. Thank you ever so much for inviting me here today. Now, you might think that having lived half my life in England and half in Scotland, and being half Scottish and half English, that I wouldn't be too sure about voting for independence. And that was true when I joined the Greens 10 years ago. But what's changed? Well, the reason I joined the Greens was because I realised how dire the climate situation was. And things have only got worse since then. We're already seeing wildfires, drought, floods. There are places now where people cannot any longer live because of the climate crisis. And so, and even in Europe, 1 million hectares are burning this year alone. And climate refugees are already arriving, and there'll be more in years to come. I got involved in politics because I realised that climate action on the ground was being undone by politicians. However, for some time, I thought maybe we had a better chance of tackling climate change as part of the bigger EU. And I was worried about leaving England to the Tories. But that changed. I began to realise that the UK is a failed state, incapable of change, where a small elite cling to power at all costs, and huge inequality means that increasing numbers of people starve and freeze, despite being a rich country. Whilst the elite send their money abroad to avoid paying tax. It's a union dominated by a larger partner which pays lip service to democracy and devolution and the crises of the day, such as climate crisis. But does it really look like they're dealing with an emergency? No. We've had COVID, the cost of living crisis, and climate change bearing down on us. And the Westminster elite holds all the purse strings. They partied through COVID whilst we couldn't say goodbye to our loved ones or hold weddings. They, with their wealth, are insulated from the cost of living crisis. They are partying through the climate crisis too, burning a high proportion of the last fossil fuels we can safely burn, but making even a basic level of warmth unaffordable for many. They have failed to do even the basics of insulating buildings and building zero carbon homes. Poverty wages mean lots of people can't heat or eat. This is wrong, and we need to do something about that. We need an independent Scotland. Scotland has a chance to be different. Greens have a vision of a caring, sharing society where everyone's needs are cared for, of a just transition from oil and gas to renewables, and from shooting nature to nature restoration, of a society with 20-minute neighbourhoods where goods and services are produced as locally as possible, avoiding the need to travel, of a circular economy where we reuse, repurpose and recycle resources as long as possible. We have a vision of a country where new Scots such as myself feel at home and contribute. Do you share our vision? Yes. The recent census was the first time I ticked the box that I identified as Scottish. To make our vision of an independent Scotland a reality, I passionately believe that everyone, whatever our background or place of origin, should feel welcome in the Yes movement. We need everyone's skills to create that new independent Scotland. Times will be tough, but we can build a new country together. And finally take the bold action needed to address the climate and ecological emergency, build a fairer, caring society, and set an example to the world. Can we do it? Yes, we can. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Anne. Sorry, I forgot to tell her that the steps at the back there. I'd just like to introduce someone who does something really interesting. It's called Salvo, and this is Sarah Salyers. Please listen to this and get one of her papers because it's worth it, by the way. Big hand for Sarah. Thank you. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Sovereign Scots. Can I hear it for Sovereign Scots? Now let's talk about what Sovereign Scot means. Let's start with what it doesn't mean. Sadly, it doesn't mean that 100 of us could turn up in Westminster or Holyrood and say we're Sovereign Scots and declare independence and that would be done, or we'd have done it. I'll tell you what else it doesn't mean. It doesn't mean that you can go to the ballot box and vote for a party that is standing on a referendum manifesto and then expect to get what you want, because that's not sovereignty. That is just democracy, and we don't have that. What we want is democracy and then some. What sovereignty is needs remembering. It needs looking again at who we are. What makes us different from England? Why do we insist that we're not just North England? That we're somehow something we're proud of that is no better or worse but ours? Because of what has travelled with us right back from before Roman times. A way of looking at the world, a way of doing business, a way of being politically organised, a way of looking after our own. It's the common good. It's the idea that power, authority, is vested in the people and only ever lent to government, to authority, to crown. It's lent, devolved. And that doesn't mean that you get to vote for a government one year that breaks its promises and then hope the one you vote for next year will keep its promises. It means that if those who have lent their power to serve the common good to governments are betrayed by those governments, they get to sack them.
Get you bastard.
We get to sack corrupt, criminal, inhuman governments that abuse our people. But before we can do that, we have to reclaim what sovereignty means. It means that we are a higher power in Scotland than Westminster. It means that when Westminster says we are sovereign, we say, no, you're not. Because we have been sovereign since before Bruce. We were sovereign before the declaration of the clergy in 1310, before the declaration of Arbroath in 1320. We were sovereign when the claim of right was passed to establish that the people are the final authority in Scotland. And that sovereignty was protected as a condition of the Union. So let me tell you, if we are in a voluntary union, then we are in a union that is governed by an international treaty. And if it's not, then we're a colony and we can ask to be decolonised. And if we are in a treaty that is, if we're in a union that is voluntary and governed by a treaty, which by the way is what the British government told the UN, then we have a right to demand the condition of that treaty, which is that Scotland's constitution remains after the union. How do we do that? We come together. Sovereignty is vested in every Scot, everyone. When we reach critical mass, and we come together and we support the convention that Kenny McCaskill is talking about, which becomes, under Scots constitutional law, the representation of the people lending the power, not the ones borrowing it, then we can go around Westminster. Their courts are never going to let us go. Let's get right behind IndyRep. Let's do everything we can to make that happen and to win that referendum. But they're not going to let us. And when they don't, we're going to have to do it ourselves. So let's get ready to do it ourselves. Because we are going to get our freedom, not by asking Westminster, by telling Westminster, not through their rigged courts and their rigged referendums and their rigged votes, but by coming back together, as we have done throughout our history as the nation of Scotland, reconstituting the bodies that really represent us, that speak for us, demanding that the international community recognises that we're either a colony or we have an international treaty and a right to our constitution. And if necessary, once we have that recognition, simply declaring independence. Ladies and gentlemen, and we will be doing it lawfully, they hid our constitution for centuries. They pretended it didn't exist. They told us that Parliament is sovereign, and they give us a UK constitution that begins with Magna Carta. We need our own back. We need to know who we are. We need to remember that we've always cared for our own. We need to remember what the Scottish Constitution says, and then we need to take it back. And when we do, then the people of Scotland get to do what they did in 1689. They get to sack these criminals.
Thanks very much. That's Sarah. But look up www.salvo.scot to get much more of this information. It's just super interesting in my opinion. Anyway, the next person up is a poet from here, from sunny Inverness. This is Sandra Proctor, and she's going to do a poem about dissolve the union. I don't even know myself, but big hand for Sandra. Hi everyone. Yeah, it's called Dissolving the Union, and I wrote it especially for today. Once I was informed what the purpose of the march was. So I'm just going to get straight into it. I won't be long, I promise.
Go Sandra!
Dissolving the union is what we're about. It's why we are marching, in case you're in doubt. There's hundreds of reasons for Scotland to go, and not one for staying, as far as I know. With plenty of resources, despite what we're told, with hydro and wind power, we'd never be cold. We sell much more food than we need to buy. We'd never go hungry. There's no reason why. To dissolve the union is why we're here. We need to convince folk
which currency we choose to use, they'll still want our produce, so we cannot lose. They'll still buy our whisky, Scotch beef and seafood, for ours is the best, others aren't as good. Dissolving the union will set us all free, to flourish and grow, be who we want to be. The world's out there waiting to welcome us Scots. They all want to be us, and why would they not? For we're as good as them, better than some. It's time that we got out from under the thumb. Dissolving the union's what we have to do, for that's when we can to our own selves be true. So talk to your neighbours, those who say no. Ask why it is that they don't want to go. Ask what the union is doing for us. Do they feel valued by Sunak or Truss? Dissolving the union is better for all. It's why we are here, why we've answered the call. And when the time comes that we vote to be free, and Scotland once more regains her liberty, no longer will all of our powers be devolved, for finally this union will be dissolved. No. Thank you.
Is Gary Jack around? Gary Jack, hello. If Gary's not there, we could have an absolutely random speaker up here that's willing to say something for 5 minutes.
How random.
And after that we're going to have some music from Gordy. Alistair Highland Manny is going to say 5 minutes of something for you guys.
Sure, only 5 minutes. Yeah, that's right. 5 and dry. On behalf of my fellow countrymen, on behalf of my fellow Scotsmen, on behalf of the Heathery Hills of Athen, and on behalf of all that rhymes with the sky, and the Isle of Skye, and the Misty Isle, and everything else to do with terrible, Renloch edible, how many R's in that? I would like to say, on behalf of the whole entire world, I love you all. And from China to America, to Australia, to 13th Commandment, and blessed is he who sits on a pin, for he shall wholly rise. That's what he used to say anyway. And on behalf of 22 Johnson Place, which is right behind me here, I'd like to say thanks, Dad, for giving birth to me, and thank you to my son for being my son, Alistair Charlie Johnston. Alistair Charlie Mackay, named after his dad, Charlie Johnston, of the 1st Battalion of the Scots Guards. And I would Hamsel, I said Hamsi, Hamsel, and give it a house if, give it a house rain, can't be like you.
Thank you.
Well done.
Yay.
See you later.
Yeah, sorry for that, it was a bit makeshift there. The next speaker is Gary Jack from XR. Big hand for Gary.
Hello, yes, the ladies just said I'm Gary Jack from Extinction Rebellion, Highlands and Islands and Moray. Firstly, I'd just like to say thank you for the organisers, all under one banner, for a great event and for inviting us here to speak today about the climate crisis and what it means to Scotland and the rest of the world and how we deal with it with regard to the UK and Scotland governments. And secondly, just to say that those who are unfamiliar with Extinction Rebellion, you've maybe seen us on the telly, but it's not always the way it's portrayed. we're beyond party politics. We don't have any political alliance. We don't have any allegiance to any party. We're just purely concerned with the climate crisis and how it's affecting ourselves and our children's future. Back in 2019, early April in fact, Extinction Rebellion went to London and caused mass disruption for 10 days on the basis to try and persuade the UK government to declare a climate emergency. And within 2 weeks, the Scottish government had declared a climate emergency on the 28th of April, and the UK government had declared a climate emergency on the 1st of May. So that was a major success, and we felt it was a major turning point in changing the attitude to the climate crisis. And unfortunately, since then, there's been very little done, probably more so from the UK government, who have virtually done nothing, and even their own climate advisors, the Climate Change Committee, have said and openly criticised that the UK government are not progressing things as fast as they should, and they won't meet their current targets of zero emissions by 2050. The Scottish government has done a bit better, yeah, although there's still a long way to go. And they actually carried out one of XR's requests to have a Climate Citizens Assembly, which they did have last year, which was 100 random people from Scotland to go into a panel to make recommendations for to help solve the climate crisis. Unfortunately, a lot of the recommendations weren't upheld and implemented, so there's a bit of work to be done there as well. I'll not go over this too much, but I think we all know, hopefully now, that it's the burning of fossil fuels that's the main cause of the climate crisis. The production of CO2 in the atmosphere, and the more we put in the atmosphere, the more the weather, extreme weathers happen. We have heat waves, flooding, sea level increases and so forth. So, and biodiversity is hit as well. So there's no scientific doubt about that. The oil companies may tell you different. So we need to stop going with new fossil fuel production, and we need to phase down our existing use of fossil fuels to keep the increasing temperature below 1.5 degrees that we've all signed up to in the Paris Agreement in 2015. We are currently at 1.1 degrees, so we're not far away, and as you can see from what's happening in the world today, with the heat waves, wildfires and so forth, if that's happening at 1.1 degrees, what's going to happen if we go over 1.5? We're really in a difficult situation. The government's current policies leave us on course for 2.5 degrees high, which is catastrophic and almost suicidal and murderous for the people of the UK. So the UK government is completely failing us on all fronts. In fact, this failing is illustrated even more in some recent approvals. They just recently approved the Jackdaw gas field, and are currently looking at approving another 20 or so in the next year. They've also given huge tax rebates to the oil and gas companies to actually invest in new oil and gas in the North Sea. That was on the back of the windfall tax to make it a bit more easier for the oil companies. They're also considering a new coal mine in Cumbria and looking at the possibility of opening up fracking again, which was written off a couple of years ago.
They've also stopped the man in the street getting grants, reduced them for installing renewables in your own home to reduce your electricity bills, and they've also stopped the grants on electrical cars and things like that to help. So the government's policies are well of course, and this is even putting them off even further. They've made the excuse that these policies are required because we need energy security and to keep the fuel prices down, which is absolute garbage. It really riles me, I'm afraid. It's just absolute garbage. Any new oil or gas field that is given approval just now won't come on stream until about 2026. If we haven't got our fuel prices down and our energy security by then, we're really struggling. Any oil and gas extraction from the North Sea is actually owned by the oil companies and not by Scotland or the UK. So these oil companies will sell that oil to the highest bidder, normally on the international market. So it's not an energy security thing, it can go anywhere. And lastly, on the actual price, the price is dictated by the international market as well. And unfortunately, electricity price is levelled off of the gas price. So even if electricity prices, and in real terms, go down, which they are with renewable energies in the North Sea, renewables are becoming cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, and far cheaper than gas. But the energy price is based on the gas price, which is absolutely nonsense in itself. So the oil companies have known that oil and gas have been causing the planet catastrophic climate change since the 1970s. Their own scientists proved that, but these reports were shelved and hidden, and they've been denying it ever since. They are now ploughing millions of pounds into greenwashing us and into lobbying MPs to make policies such as the ones I've just highlighted with the jackdaw and the rebates. So that all needs to change. Scotland, on the other hand, have been an innovator over the years since the Industrial Revolutions. So there's no reason why Scotland once again could influence the world in sustainable and circular economy. Especially the circular economy bill is going to go through the Scottish Parliament fairly soon, and the consultation ends on Monday, so if anybody wants to chip in on that. And the Scottish net zero target is 2046 as opposed to the UK government's of 2050, so we're ahead on that as well. So Scotland could be really successful in making these changes if it had more control over its own destiny. So let us not make the same mistakes that we did before with the oil industry, and let us make a new start with the renewables. The Secretary General of the UN said that any new investment in fossil fuels would be a moral and economical madness. But yet the UK government are doing all these policies that are to stimulate more oil and gas investments in the North Sea. So Scotland should be winding down the oil and gas, investing in green jobs, and ensuring the profits actually come to the Scottish people, unlike they did in the past. As I think somebody said before, Scotland actually only uses 5 gigawatts of electricity per year. The bids that have come in for the oil and gas auction recently had a capacity of 25 gigawatts. So Scotland could, in theory, export 20 gigawatts of electricity, which is a massive amount, and the revenue for that would be phenomenal.
So we almost need, well, in fact we do need a nationalised industry with direct control of where the money goes. This didn't happen during the oil industry, and most of the money went to big oil companies and shareholders. Norway did it different. Their government kept control of the assets through a sovereignty wealth fund, which is the biggest sovereignty wealth fund in the whole of the world, and the Norwegian people all benefit for that. So if we nationalised the energy industry and set up a sovereignty wealth fund for Scotland, that would be phenomenal. The other thing is a just transition, obviously, for the oil workers who are going to have to move from oil to renewables. And that's something Extinction Rebellion trade unions are currently working on with other trade unions throughout the country. And we were at the Scottish Trade Union Conference in Aberdeen just 3 or 4 months ago. So a just transition would mean that these people are trained up and ready to go into these green jobs, and nobody would be left behind. So it's time that we need a change, and we need to be in control of our own debt, nationalisation of the industry, and invest in this sovereignty fund. And how do we make that happen? Well, to meet the target of 1.5 degrees, we need to protest against the UK government in investment in renewables and for a just transition for the workers, and it needs to be done as soon as possible. So thank you for listening. As I say, Extinction Rebellion are not a political party, but it is made up of all kinds of people like you and me. And we just want a better Scotland, a better place to live for ourselves and our children. And if this speaks to you, you can find us on our website, on Facebook. So I look forward to seeing you. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Gary. And just like Extinction Rebellion, that's like all under one banner. We're no party, we just want freedom. Well, we're going to end up with some music now from also an Inverness son, Gordy. Are you going to go on? He's not paying any attention.
Suzanne, just wanted
we'll
to
just
say
shout
when
on
Sarah
him,
was talking, I was holding the flag up high.
Get on the stage!
When this is finished, I'll get
that hamsters all, isn't it?
It's absolutely beautiful, and I've got a wee shout to do for Hope Over Fear as well at the end of
this is Gordy Strathdean with a few wee tunes for you. Welcome to Gordy.
Aye. Oh, you're here! Yeah, look at that! That's amazing. I'll just start though.
Hey.
We'll just start. Why are you just gonna wait? I've got a table for you. Get very straight into this.
Well done! What time is it? There's the sun coming out and the heat coming out. Well, I have, but I think I've only got one. Do you smoke, Dave? Aye.
Yes, I do, but I'm after the cheap bags of jam. I need to bring this strong fake card.
No problem, Eileen. While I'm here, I just want to say, I think this has been the biggest march this year so far, and I hope the marches are getting strong now and going to start getting bigger. And don't forget about Hope Over Fear on the 18th of... when's Hof again? Is it the 19th? And it's the 19th of September for Hof and Freedom Square. That's George Square in Glasgow, for all those that maybe couldn't make it here.
Hey.
Yeah. Push it. That's it flat. Yeah. Oh, hold on. There's something up with this. Right, that's it. That's it, you.
Good afternoon, folks. It's great to be here to play a couple of tunes at the rally. It was a great march. This is a song I wrote about just for struggle. Tired of being pushed around, fed up of being treated like the rubbish on the ground. Tories, you fascist vermin, enough of your tiring sermon. Don't want to be part of this union. Corruption and greed, a poisonous union. We have shown how different we are. Our countries are yellow, it shines like a star. Scotland demands to be free. Westminster policies are foreign today. Rise up again and be bold, like the martyrs in Wallace and Bruce that we hold. I fight for the right to be sovereign, to live a life free of imperialists who govern, no longer be slaves of their system and this racist right-wing deception. Scotland demands to be free. Westminster policies are foreign today. Rise up again and be bold, like the martyrs in Wallace and Bruce that we hold. In Sturgeon we trust as our leader. I like salmon before a worthy achiever. Duped with Tory treason in 2014. Now in 2022 they won't take our dream. Scotland demands to be free. Westminster policies are foreign today. Rise up again and be bold, like the martyrs in Wallace and Bruce that we hold. Scotland demands to be free. Westminster policies are foreign today. Rise up again and be bold, like the martyrs in Wallace and Bruce that we hold. Thank you very much. This next song is about a fallen hero of ours, Willie McRae, who you all know was done away by the establishment many years ago. There was a patriot, a Birdland some would say. He also was a gentleman and loved in every way. Treachery and tragedy, his story must be told. This loyal Scot, he lost a lot and all for North Sea gold. Born and bred in Westeros, a lawyer he became. Speech and rallying to the cause, beat young Willie fame. Such a charming, witty lad, it was so hard to find. His wit and grace, impressive face, oh such a brilliant mind.
Oh, once there lived a Hieland man, his name was Willie McRae. He fought for Scotland's freedom until his dying day. He fought for independence, he fought for you and me. Remember Willie McRae, my boys, not free you'll never be. Remember Willie McRae, my boy, you're free you'll never be. Just a few hours later, wee Willie nearly dead. Found just past Fort William, wee gunshots to his head. So this genius took his life, well that's what they say. Aye, a clever man indeed as he threw his gun away. Ah, once there lived a Hieland man, his name was Willie McRae. He fought for Scotland's freedom until his dying day. He fought for independence, he fought for you and me. Remember Willie McRae, my boys, are free you'll never be. Remember Willie McRae, my boys, are free you'll never be. As Willie he lay dying in his stricken car, his papers some were missing or scattered near and far. So this genius took his life, well that's what they say. Aye, a clever man indeed as he threw his gun away. Now you have a story of a Scotsman and his land. The fire in Willie's belly, aye, some don't understand. But rest assured, my Hieland lad, we every breaking dawn, until we see our country free, the struggle it goes on. Ah, once there lived a Hieland man, his name was Willie McRae. He fought for Scotland's freedom until his dying day. He fought for independence, he fought for you and me. Remember Willie McRae, my boys, are free you'll never be. Remember Willie McRae, my boys, are free you'll never be. Remember Willie McRae, my boys, are free you'll never be. Thank you very much. Oh, well, thanks for listening. This last song is a song I wrote about a friend of mine who loves a good drink. I just thought we'd finish with this. Enough to today. When the time is right, I'll be on my way. Don't get no regrets, choose to live this way. Just remember one thing, I won't give up today. I won't give up today. I won't give up today. No, I won't give up today. Thanks very much. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
See you again. Yeah, you come up.
Aye, he's really good. Aye, me too. I like the other songs. Really good. I'm not sure Ross is still to come on. Is it Sal? Aye, No, Dave hit the silver flag, so he did. It's a fucking cracker.
Hi folks, that was Sons of the Soil. But if you want to catch them again, a gentleman was asking the name, I finally found it out. The singer is Gordy Strandee from Inverness. We're going to do something a wee bit different now, just because we need some younger people to start coming, right? So we're going to put a wee tiny bit of dance music on for you.
We're here. We're young.
We're young. Yeah. Well, I'm young and on my heat. But this is DJ Freedom, by the way. Ross Whitehall, he's one of our stewards, but he's a good DJ. So if you want to have a wee dance for the last 15 minutes, go ahead. And the sound engineer needs a piss, I just heard, but I think he'll just need to hold it. Right, cheers everybody, thanks for coming.
Sometimes I feel like throw my hands up in the air. I know I can come.